What is up, Ascenders? Welcome back to another live stream, but not only just that, welcome back to another episode of Awaken. I am super excited to be back online with the show, and we got a fun guest about to join us for the first one in probably a month now. He's a veteran behind the mic himself, even more so than I am, with his own show, Soul Speaks 5D. It's a Facebook Live show. If you haven't checked it out, I'm definitely going to be dropping links in the description for you all to go check it out, because Todd Medina is bringing through some high frequencies with the many light workers that he is having on his show. He has done a unbelievable amount of episodes. I'm going to have to ask him when we get him on live here how many he's done, but I know he's done a ton, which has provided him with a breadth of an experience that is unique and powerful, in that he's spoken to so many people, he's been exposed to so many different stories. I'm super excited to hear what he has to share, given all the experience he has in his own story and journey, but then of course again in the many conversations he's had with light workers from all over the world, that's all rooted in the same purpose that he's very powerfully serving. So before we jump in, before we get Todd online, I do got a quick announcement here that I want to plug in quickly, and it's that the Ascender Activation Program is officially opened up, folks. I know many light workers in hiding are still out there waiting for activation, waiting to step into their purpose. And, I'm seeing more and more people step into their truth and their power as time goes on, as the shift in consciousness continues to unfold. More people are just becoming more expressive of their truth. I'm seeing that, and it's very heartening to see, to witness so many beautiful souls step into being more true to what wants to come through them, being more true to what they feel called to express. And this Ascender Activation Program is out here to get those of you that want to take this a step further in channeling your purpose, channeling the message that you feel called to share into a brand and a business that not only fulfills you in creating, but also allows you to create for yourself an experience that entails abundance and freedom. So I did want to quickly mention that. I do see Todd is online, ready to jump on, so I'm not going to keep you all waiting any longer. Let's get him up. He is the host of Soul Speaks 5D, co-founder of Soulogy.Studios, which I'm very, very pumped up to hear him talk about. Should be getting him on soon here. Thank you for all you beautiful souls that have jumped in here with us for the live stream. I'm already feeling the energy cultivating, and it's about to get a little more turned up. Hello, Colette, and to the 23 of you. It says we're running into some tech issues here. Let me see if we can. Nothing's going to stop us from getting this online. I see we got some excitement to have Todd on. Okay, I think it should be coming through now. Hello, Nicole. It's saying declined. So it seems like we have some guests that some of you in the audience are aware of Todd's work, which is exciting to see. Not sure why Facebook does not want him on. Not sure what's going on. See, Todd's here in the comments if you guys are with us. It's not on him. Let's see if there's anything I can do from my end here.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I was getting a little bit worried there for a second, Todd.
Yeah, it's doing some weird stuff I've never seen it do before. It told me to make my phone go horizontal. Oh, I guess I need to be like this, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, I should have mentioned that before. When you did the split broadcast, they do want you to hold the phone horizontal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a watch party on my page. We had a few people in there.
Cool. I know you have quite the audience behind you as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some of your listeners involved here as well.
Well, you got 26 people in the house. You're doing all right.
Yeah, well,
That's all right.
I think those of us that are involved and in the live stream, what that tells me is there's some magic about to go down, and they are in alignment with receiving some of the frequencies that you're going to be bringing through.
Collaboration, co-creation.
That's what it's about, my friend. Yeah. I know that's what you're about as well.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. It's been a hell of a ride. Hey, I've seen some of your videos, and I started checking you out a little bit, and I'm like digging it.
Yeah, you liking it?
I like it. I like what you're doing. I really do. I don't resonate with everybody. Like everybody doesn't resonate with me or Soulogy, but I always respect people that put it out there in a oneness mentality. There's a lot of projection going on still in the communities, but that's part of the passion play we're all involved in, and that's just the way it is, you know. But it's nice to see people getting out there and really leading from the heart without agenda, and just putting their trust into this whole thing we're a part of, you know.
Well, everything.
But I dig what you're doing. I really do. I love what you're doing.
I appreciate that, my man, and likewise. And of course, everything that you've just described is exactly the reason why I had to have you on. As soon as you come across your work and what you're doing, it's quite clear that you're a man that's committed and dedicated to the service of others, and to see the breadth of work and podcast episodes that you're putting out. Like I was just mentioning before you hopped on, I know you've done like a ridiculous amount of episodes. Do you have any idea how many?
I dig what you're doing. You're talking about the talk show?
Yeah, like how many episodes have you done roughly?
I right around 1,100.
Wow.
I think about 1,100.
1,100, and those are all interviews.
Yeah. Those are well, I call them a conversation.
I like it.
My wife, she named it a couple years ago. Well, it's been about 2 years now, and she said we need to call it Soul Speaks 5D.
You've done 1,100 episodes in 2 years.
Yeah, and actually, that's probably with it's probably more like 18 months.
Wow.
We've had some big months, but I was doing a lot of traveling. I was on the road trying to find my way for a long time. So there was periods where I couldn't because I didn't have signal and stuff like that. But I think overall, since this started about, about 4 years ago, I think it's probably around total, like about 3,500 productions.
Wow, that's unbelievable, my man. And like I said, again, it just completely reflects how committed you are to the service of co-creating this new earth. And, you know, I just want those that are listening to really take in what that is. 1,100, over 1,000 conversations you've sat down in to connect with the person on the other side, of course, but then also to support those that tune in and listen to that. In our communities, there's a lot of talk about what I call light workers in hiding. Those that are on that path, that are kind of edging into the purpose of serving the shift in consciousness, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason, still feel a little hesitant, still holding themselves back a little bit from fully expressing their truth and just jumping right in with the sort of potential that I see in some of these people. And I just want
Yeah.
those that, are on that brink of putting something out there, starting to create their own content, starting to share their message, to really take in how much you're putting out. And let me actually ask you this. Does it feel like you're doing a lot? Does it feel like...
uh, yeah. Let me say this first. So I'm not the only one at Soulogy. Uh, my wife, my beloved divine conscious partner, uh, she's like the producer.
Mm.
Um, she's she coordinates everything much beyond like just scheduling. I mean, she actually there's a symmetry to the flow of the shows and the people. Um, so I just want to recognize her for that because it's not all me, and there's other people involved too, and I won't get into names and all that. But is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, you do 4, 5, 6 shows in a day.
In a day?
We typically do 3. Yeah, we typically do 3. Like I got the calendar here. We probably do 80 in May, probably 80 in June. Um, well, this is the only thing. So it's like at this point now with the team kind of forming, uh, all I got to do is show up, man. So now it sounds like 4 hours, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. You're in front of the camera talking to somebody, having a conversation, but it is a lot of work. It's I've always been someone who worked a lot of hours, and it's I would say a 1 hour show can be the same physical stress or experience on the body of say 3 or 4 hours, depending on who the person is and the level of multidimensionality that occurs on the show. And I think the main reason that it seems like a lot sometimes is because I'm handling the same energies everybody else is. I'm just like everybody else. I'm not Jesus and I'm not walking on water.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to like adjust. So some days I might do a show at 10, get off at 11, lay down for an hour, get up, do another one. And there are times that it takes everything I got. But once I sit in the chair and once I start talking to someone, typically I'm okay. Every now and then, if I'm not, I just tell them, hey, I'm not balanced right now. I'm not okay right now. And, I think that's really, to your point you were making prior to the question, I think that's really where we're all at. We don't need to have the spit and polish. We don't need to have the framed up, pre-designed production. We can just be ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the situation is. That's what the Soulogy Energy has been since day one, and as a group, 8 years ago. And so I think, yeah, I know that was a long-winded kind of thing, but it's a lot of work. But I really enjoy it. I got the best job in the universe.
Mm.
Is the way I look
I
at
like
it.
that you finished up with that because that leads into exactly where I wanted to take it. And I think you kind of already just took the steps into the answer here. It's with all that you're doing, like you said, it's not easy, and only someone that's had to do something similar can really relate. 3-4 hours of talking and conversing with someone and interacting and being in front of an audience, it takes a good deal of energy. Now, where do you think you are able to cultivate the energy that you need to make that happen? How do you find that? What is it that fuels you in these efforts?
Um, I think first of all, I've been in a divine conscious unit for about as long as I've been in doing this. I think, consciously and actively came into the group on the linear level, on the human level, 2 years ago.
Okay, so
Uh,
you're gonna have to dig a little deeper in there for me. So what was it that you called it? Divine conscious relationship?
Divine conscious union, yeah,
Union.
divine conscious
Okay, so
relationship,
I
yeah.
just want to
So
hear.
it's
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, Well, so okay, so I'll go cover both in one answer. So so four no, I'm sorry. God, how long's it been? 7.5 years ago, I was given the name Soulogy. I was given the name, and I don't get stuck on labels or faces of the universe, but I was given the name by the energy of Archangel Michael early in my awakening when I was having a lot of divine episodes and such. I was given the name on March the 10th, 2012, which was my wife's birthday, but I wouldn't meet her for 4 years, right? I came to understand later through dimensional experiences shared with her that we actually created this energetically long before 2012.
Mm.
So anyway, I met her 2015. I started doing videos. About a week later, I meet her and we start a relationship. About 2 years after that, about a year and a half, well, about 2 years after that, she came over for the second time to the States and she took over like the production. She just was like, and there was like a May, June, July, and August, and we must have done we must have done 400. In fact, we did the 400th episode around August of 2015, 2017. I'm sorry. So what I'm getting at is where do I get the energy? It's been a evolution. So when I started out, it was like, hey man, like people you just know on Facebook. Hey man, let's have a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would just have a conversation. And then she came up with the idea, let's call it Soul Speaks 5D. I'm like, all right. And where people can share their skills and abilities and their experiences, dimensional and physical and everything, right? And so then we would get into it, and, I'm pretty raw. I've always been very raw, not in a, like in an egoic way, really, but just like it is what it is. I used to make a lot of videos out of the studio before I started this, shirt off, hungover, hair all wild, turn on some music and just start talking, just start doing what I call soul speaking, just which is basically what you were talking about earlier. People are on the cusp of coming out and wanting to do this, but they have a little bit of apprehension. For some reason, I was told to do this by the universe, and that's how it kind of started. Anyway, so in these early episodes of Soul Speaks 5D, uh, I was probably I wasn't as balanced as I am now, and I'm not saying I'm totally balanced now, but I was, I could get pretty radical, I could get pretty emotional, uh, and she pulled me aside and said, I said, oh, so and so's coming on. The last time they were on, they pissed me off, whatever the case was. And she said to me, look, because we've done a lot of session work. She's a practitioner. She's an energy worker for many, many years. So she said to me, when you bring someone on, pull their higher self up. You don't have to tell them, just pull their higher self up and just connect at that level. So I started doing that, and I would say it really, and it just evolved. It just expanded from there. So I would say in the last 300 to 400 shows, it's very common for me to be talking to someone and their higher self will be there. Sometimes there's two, three, four, five different aspects talking to me, and the human. So the energy, I think, is, uh, as I understood Soulogy explained to me, as I have tried to explain it in my role, in my role of the in and alone of the other roles that are involved, and which is their purpose too, is to continue to add frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. So that would describe the energy to me. Is like no matter what my mood is, I get on and I'm adding my authentic energy, even if I'm standing on one leg and I don't feel good and the energy just hit me and busted my ass. I connect with my higher self, bring in their higher self, and then the party starts.
Mm.
And that's very energetic. That's a very energetic thing.
Is it the
And I'll give you an
authenticity
example.
that you feel like is the power there?
I think the power is that. I say on the show over and over again, I'd love for you to be on the show, by the way. I'll talk to my wife.
I'd love to.
Get in a, but I think you'd be great. what I found out was that it operates like this. It operates on the spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and I just added this last adjective, and these are given to me. It's not me. Courageous.
Mm.
Those five elements. Those five elements bring out. Uh, they bring out a pure download, transmission, and activation. And I believe that the most powerful downloads, transmissions, and activations we can receive are from having a conversation with each other like this, where there's no bullshit and there's no agenda, and there's as little ego as possible, where we're both laying our cards on the table and we're saying, hey, man, the energy's kicking my ass. Or, hey, man, I woke up. Well, I'll give you an example. I was just going to end that last one with an example. Last night I did 5 shows, I think. I know I did 11 the last 2 days, or 10 the last 2 days. The last show I did was at 6:30 with a beautiful lady, Gayatri Singh, who interacts with dragons, paints them, does dragon sessions. She talks to them. This is her world. This is her role. So I'm looking at this dragon that she drew, and the dragon starts talking to me. And it's like, boom, right? And it hit me in the solar plexus and hit me in the heart. And I ended up having a huge dimensional shift last night after the show. That becomes available, in my opinion, when we drop all the armor and we just tell it like it is. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes. I don't know if the word's authentic. I think it's kind of overused. I think the word is raw and real. And when you're raw and real, you don't have to tell people, hey, I'm raw and real. Hey, I tell it like it is. You don't have to do that.
No.
Your energy speaks. The words are secondary. And I'm not saying I do it, but the consciousness of Soulogy upholds that vibration. And that's another aspect of this that I just want to say real quick too, because it wouldn't come up in a question. The consciousness of Soulogy came to us in the summer of 2017 when we kicked off Soul Speaks 5D. And it actually came to us as a golden tree bearing golden fruit. And it explained to us that we were like the primary caregivers, me and Morgan, and that we would feed it with our divine love, and that other aunts and uncles would come and they would assist. And that's occurred. Soulogy is really not Todd. It's not Morgan. It's not the guest on the other side of the screen. It's not the group. It's every person. It's every single person, because they come, and this is a place they can come and be supported and protected, and they're not going to be made fun of. I've said many times it's not a social circle, although a lot of people have walked in the door and created a social circle. It never lasts. And we get a few rocks thrown at us and that type of thing. We're not here to create a social circle. We're here to promote an energy that is a small mirror of the universe, and the universe is always adding frequencies to an ever-expanding vibration. You cannot divorce yourself from any aspect of the universe, and this is what we try to uphold.
So you describe it as a consciousness.
It is a consciousness. It speaks to us. We speak to it. It's told us, for example, only pure love. Only pure love. And that's a very broad word. You know, pure love sounds like, oh, love, you know, love and light, love and fluffy light. No. Pure love is truth. Pure love is bold. Pure love is intuitive. It's spontaneous. It's raw. It's real. Only that energy will cling to Soulogy. And it has told us, if an energy of agenda comes, don't worry about it. It'll fall away. And that's exactly what happens. If an energy of wounded child or agenda or whatever that's not pure in alignment with the Soulogy consciousness, it will take care. It falls away. And that's exactly what's happened. By the same token, energies that align with it keep coming. And the growth has been exponential. We really don't know what the growth is because of the limited metrics that are available from YouTube and Facebook and the suppression. We're working very diligently to create our own. We have a site. It's in construction. We're going to have all broadcasts originating from that site. So we'll be out from under the constructs of social media, matrix platforms, and we'll also be able to get a head count. Right now, we have hard numbers on the various pages of 60,000, and it's a very active 60,000. I would say probably 40,000 a week are active. There's probably a reach of a million to a million and a half a week, meaning it appears in front of a million to a million and a half people, of which about 20 to 25 to 30%, depending on the week, would actually engage it with a like, a comment, or view, a click, you know. So that's only happened because of the rawness of the guest and the down to earth conversations. You know, when you can have people come in and talk about their alien abductions, their child molestations, their problems in relationships, the energies and their effect on them, the hallucinations, the dimensional experiences. I mean, you got people talking to dragons, talking to Jesus, talking to galactics, and having very real experiences. And Morgan and I also try to share our experiences. We have many multidimensional and interdimensional experiences, and also about our relationship, because that's a big part of Soulogy, and a big part of this ascension is the triad. We're moving from a duality to a trinity. We're talking masculine and feminine energies. Doesn't mean have anything to do with physical gender, although it typically follows in that way. Coming together in equilibrium and creating a third energy, such as Soulogy, basically a golden child.
So talk to
This
me.
is the 369.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. I think you're already kind of going into that direction. I was going to ask about the Trinity.
I was introduced to it when I met Morgan. Morgan, like a lot of people, particularly women, has been connecting to the universal, downloading and documenting for 20 years. There's a lot of particularly divine feminines that have come on the show 15, 20, 25 years doing this in the solitude of their own home without any notoriety. Each one of them seem to have specific areas that they are attuned with. Hers is sacred sexuality, sacred union, and basically the as being the key component in the sacred geometric equation of this transition, the holy triad, the 369 that Tesla talks about. We're going from duality to a trinity. This is information she received a long, long time ago. So that's the first time I heard about it. Now I've seen many, many people over the years refer to it and write about it. So it's real. The math is changing. We all know that. And a key component of that is divine union, whether divine union is occurring in a person, is incarnated in two partners, and beyond that. You know, it's a co-creative, collaborative type of frequency where there's an equal energy exchange in all. It's a higher dimensional. It's the type of math that works in the dimension that we're creating or realizing as we speak.
That's interesting to hear, because I've never really heard like I've come across quite a bit of 6-dimensional being channelings, 5-dimensional being channelings, and I've never heard of it described as this trinity that you speak of. So yeah. This is a reflected in a 5D reality. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, well, I think you probably heard of it, and we don't really care for the term. Most people don't. Well, a lot of people don't. Is twin flame. A lot of people use the term twin flame, but it's kind of been bastardized and compromised. We're talking about the power of the Trinity is not a relationship.
That's why you use the word union.
It's not a romantic.
It's better suited.
Divine conscious union is. Divine union. But a lot of people have written about it. Now they've written about it using the verbiage twin flame. If you read anything about, well, there's a lot written about it. But if you go to Judith Kuzel's work, or you go to
how do you spell
Lisa
that?
Renee, Judith Kuzel. That's Kusel. She's from South Africa. She's been on the show a few times.
Nice.
She's an incredible lady. She's been connected for a long time and been documenting it for a long time. But they talk about the return of this highest manifestation of universal energy, what we might call pure love, in this duality, actually becoming, as above below, actually becoming manifested, and how it's a key component in the ascension, in this transition. But bear in mind that it doesn't always have to be a man and a woman, and it could be a platonic relationship between a man and a woman. It could be a lot of things, but most important, it's occurring within each one of us, right?
Within.
Where the masculine and the feminine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
Jesus and Magdalene was an example of a conscious union, or what I'm talking about, the energy I'm talking about.
Okay, so then how would you describe that sort of union to someone?
A union?
Yeah, like in terms of the experience of it coming together in this sort of way.
Well, that's a big question.
Good, I like big questions.
There's a lot of aspects.
I like big answers too.
So I think first of all, we live in a patriarchal realm, and we all know that. Whether the Anunnaki did it or whoever did it doesn't really matter. Okay, what we do know is that there was an imbalance, and that had to stop. Now, if there was too much power to the patriarchal, to the masculine, it's falsely given, or whatever however you want to put it, the only way there could be any balance brought into the equation would be for the feminine to rise and no longer be suppressed. We refer to God as a masculine, and that ought to tell you where the rest of the conditioning and programming went. It just followed suit. Hang on. So what I'm getting at is I believe it starts with an awakened woman. Now, this is my opinion, okay? It starts with an awakened woman. It starts with a woman, typically, who's done her shadow work, who's done a significant amount of shadow work to clear that space, to clear that vessel, all right? And then she, like in my case, she meets a man. We all know that the women were more connected, women's intuition. They were connected to the higher realms. The men didn't have that. And again, I'm speaking in generalities here. I'm not speaking in regard to physical gender always, although most of the time that's how it follows suit. So what happens is, through her example of expansion, at some level, consciously or not, he begins to pick up on it. But at the core of it, there is a knowing from the first time you hear their voice, that type of thing. A lot of people talk about this. We've had them on the show. So what is a conscious union? It is it's work. It's work. You're mirrors to each other. You're the truest mirrors you could be. It's not a romance. It might look like a romance, but it's not a romance. It involves the eradication of 3D behaviors and patterns, including sex. And what I mean by that is the vehicle of a sacred union is sacred sexuality. Sexuality, sacred power, sacred sexual power is the physical and etherical force of the human hybrid soul. It's the power. It's the kundalini. It's what's been suppressed by the suppression, as evidenced by the suppression of the feminine, as evidenced by the suppression of sex, the taboo of sex. There is a sacred sexual intimacy that we're just coming into, Morgan and I. We've talked to some other couples. It's all the same. This energy is just coming out there. We've talked to some individuals that are experiencing it. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. If you took a picture of the intimacy, it might look like something that you've seen before. If you took a video of it, it wouldn't look anything like you've seen before. Okay? So that's a big component. That's a big part of what's coming onto the earth now is the unleashing of sacred sexuality, which requires total rawness, total vulnerability, total authenticity, no macho men, no women playing games. This is a very raw, innocent, genuine. This is our true natural nature. And this is what literally brings heaven to earth. Do you have to be in a conscious union to do that? No. We know individuals that are doing that on their own. And ultimately we will all do that. But this power is a creative force. It's the energy of creation itself is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And that is the 369. The 369 is that you've got the goddess, you've got the god, energetically speaking. They come together. Love meets love. It produces a third energy, the golden child, and there you have the holy triad, and then all the wheels start spinning in the flower of life and it starts to replicate.
I want to hear you describe this golden energy a little bit more. So as they come together, it creates that. Now, you also say that you don't need it doesn't need to be two individuals coming together. This can happen within an individual. Maybe how do you describe bringing those energies together in an individual? How do you describe that unfolding in that? Yeah.
We're gonna do a. We got invited to a conference in January in Florida. So we're both going to speak, but we're going to do a workshop on sacred union.
Mm-hmm.
And the three subjects will be sacred union, the ins and outs, sacred sexuality, the ins and outs. But what becomes before any of that is shadow work.
Mm.
Yeah. Morgan coined a phrase a couple of weeks ago. We were sitting there talking one night, and she said, "We're not light workers, we're shadow workers."
Interesting.
And that to me says it all. So there's so many complexities, especially coming from the human cognitive mind. We can make this real simple. Own your stuff. Own your stuff. Shadow work. Whatever you want to call it. How do you find shadow? You have a desire to find shadow. How do you find shadow? The old saying, it's never them, it's always me. Anything that you're seeing, take it on yourself.
Take responsibility.
Why am I seeing this?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this person making a video and saying bad things about Soulogy, me and my wife?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So you're taking ownership of everything.
I can project that on that person, or I can say, why am I seeing this?
Mm-hmm.
What is it offering me? My point is that if you clear the shadows, as I've learned under the tutelage, I've been very fortunate to learn under the tutelage of somebody who's done this for many, many years by divine guidance. Even though I was very connected like as many of us are, you cannot embody all this connectivity that we have to our multiple aspects, be it galactic, angelic, archangelic, divine essences, angels, demons, whatever, right? We cannot gain anything from that but a power boost to the ego until we actually bring it into our bodies, which is what we're doing. Now, how do you do that? The only way is to remove a shadow, integrate a shadow, or whatever, is to be aware of it. And the only way to be aware of it is to be looking for it.
Mm.
And that is the number one thing we can do, regardless of what the topic is: divine union, ascension, whatever the case is, relationships. What job do I want? How do I find my mission? How do I find abundance? Is to absolutely attack the shadow, go look for it, find it, and find ways to mitigate it, to integrate it. you
So
know?
it's more of the intention of looking for what aspects to shed, opposed to see one of the things I
Yeah,
find often kind of it's I think it could fall into the topic of spiritual bypassing even. It's this just constantly focusing on the positive, wanting to always focus on the positive and feeling like that's going
yeah,
to shift us to that
yeah.
space. But I think what
No,
you're doing an amazing job of
yeah,
describing and getting at is without the work done towards shedding the lower energies, no amount of positive intention is going to, or just focusing on that positive idea is going to really get you there. So it's more, it seems
no,
like it's more
it's not.
of the looking for what do I need to shed, opposed to the flip side of
You,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because first of all, our soul knows what it's doing, you know, or you call it higher self or whatever. We don't even have to consciously say, I want to do this, or I want to live here, or I want this job, or I want this relationship. We remove shadow and it creates space.
Mm.
We're actually transforming energy.
Mm-hmm.
You're transforming energy. You're seeing something as separate from yourself. Oh, I was molested. That wasn't my fault. That's not part of me. That's the victimizer. That's something external. It's a part of us that chose to go through that experience. And there's a part of us, you know, we talk about so much of this multidimensionality, but the human is the hero. Well, let me repeat that. The human is the fucking hero. Okay? We're the ones down here. We're the boots on the ground. We're the ones doing the work. All of these aspects, archangels, angels, galactics, divine essences, no disrespect, dragons, demons, whatever. They're all aspects of us. They all come to us. They all support us and empower us if we allow. But it's the multi human aspects. These are the pieces we're picking up and pulling in. So imagine having one identity, or say one part of you for each year that you are. I'm 57 years old. So say there's 57 Todds out there. There was the 1 year old, there was the 2 year old, there was the 10 year old, there was, you know, all of them are out there. And if you just look at that real quick as an example, I might say, okay, at 15, 25, 35, and 45, I love that guy. But what about all the other ones? You know, these are the pieces we're picking up. These are the multi aspects that are even more important than these multi-dimensional, higher dimensional aspects. I honestly believe that Earth is the densest place in the multiverses and the closest to source. It would only make sense in the way this universe teaches. What's up is down, what's left is right, what's a square is a circle. It's always the opposite, or at least has a dual meaning. But my point is, we have spent so much time trying to get away from being human. Beam me up, Scotty. Take me home. I've had enough. The shadows are our greatest opportunity for expansion for ourselves, and therefore, as we know, every time we shift for the collective. And it's not just the earth realm, it's all universes, all dimensions across all timelines. This is not an earth correction. This is not an earth ascension. This is a universal totality alignment, realignment. We are correcting, so to speak, all the sins. We're correcting the Atlantis errors, the Lemurian errors, the Avalon errors. We're correcting the wounds and the traumas of the cosmic galactic wars between the Pleiadians and the Anunnakis, and anything we know of and anything we don't know of. We are we have dominion over this universe, over ourselves, and therefore the universe. You know, this is huge. This is the secret. The secret is that the human is the hero. We were raised in a realm. How it happened, I have no idea. Did the Anunnaki interfere? Did somebody come through a wormhole and interfere? Did somebody come down here and be named fallen angels and mate with the humans? And who knows and who cares? Because all we need to know is we've been a dog chasing our tail for eons, thousands and thousands of years. We are the power. We are the power, and that power comes from personal sovereignty. And when you claim that sovereignty, it's contagious. That's what we're a part of. And this universe has never seen anything like it. And if you watch any of the shows that I'm a part of, and it's not me, I'm just the moderator, and you listen to the transmissions and the downloads and channelings that people are giving us and sharing with us in regard to what they're hearing from galactics and angelics and so on, elementals, they're on the edge of their seat. They never thought we would come this far, this fast, and they don't know how far we can take it. We're expanding the outer breadth of Mother Universe, and we're doing it by taking self-responsibility, self-reliance of the soul. And that's what Soulogy is, the I am soul.
Mm.
There's nothing more to be said, you know? So I don't know why I'm so
You're on fire today.
so passionate.
Yeah, on fire today, my
well,
man.
I think it's just ginger tea I'm drinking.
I think there's a little bit more passing through you than ginger tea right now.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I quit drinking whiskey, so maybe that's what
completely.
it is. It's probably pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't do it that much. I've got something I'm working on now. We're in the initial stages of expanding Soulogy in alignment with the expansion that's occurring around this world right now. I'd like to say it's a wordless communication that we're all starting to receive and act on. So I said to myself, I'm just going to have to go OTB for a while.
OTB?
Which means off the beer.
Off the beer.
Not that I do it a lot, but you know, there's something big happening right now, and I respect it, and it's huge. People talk about the event and how the sun's going to come out and blink, the universe is going to blink its eye at us, and everybody's going to turn into Jesus tomorrow. You know, I don't think anybody has any idea what's really going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what I believe is that what is going to happen is going to happen based on the thoughts we carry forward. We're actually creating it. You know?
Right. So it's nothing written in stone kind of thing. Because I think there's a lot of talk as if there is something that is, and I think there may be a little bit of truth to this, like there's something bound to happen. But I think it's also important to recognize that we're the ones creating what unfolds. So I think it's important that we come back to the free will and the part that we have to play in choosing what unfolds. But actually, yeah. I do want to ask you, with all the people that you've spoken to and all the channelings and all the stories, what are some of the reoccurring themes that you see come up when speaking to the conversation of the shift that's taking place, or this, like you said, something big's happening? What do you find as the reoccurring messages around us? What unfolds?
Well, okay, I would say that the reoccurring message, the reoccurring messages are the ones I pay less attention to.
Interesting. Why is that?
The reoccurring messages look, the way I look at it, we don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows. The only thing we know is that I'm here and you're there. We're living and breathing. We're living.
We know now.
We're living. We're life. We're life. We're universal expression. We may be the lowest form. We may be the highest form. Todd may be full of shit, or he may be exactly right, that we're expanding the breadth of the outer breadth of Mother Creation. How do I know ascension's not a program? How do I know that airplanes aren't that half the airplanes in the sky aren't just projections shrouding a UFO? How do I know that UFOs are from other planets or from here? How do I know they even exist? How do I know anything when all of the history that we've been given has been massaged? We've been misled by, and how do I even know that?
Mm-hmm.
Programming is programming.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they got us, okay? This is where the grand design, the you, me, we, and it, decided to have the game start and end right here. So it's kind of like we got two voices. We got a soft, subtle voice that rarely talks and always listens, and we got another voice that's always chattering and won't shut the fuck up, right? So I look at it this way, all right? I don't have anything else. All I've got is the present moment. So if somebody's going to come, and I respect everybody's reality, every single person's reality, every single one, I don't care who it is. If they think something's true, I believe them. And just because they believe something I don't doesn't make any difference to me. I may not choose to break bread with that person or hang around that person and vice versa. But the bottom line is this. Stories like the event's coming, okay? Stories like we have a cycle every 26,000 years. Uh, stories like that. It's the same information being regurgitated. How do I know that's not a program? How do I know that there's not technology that's beyond the 1%, the supposed 1% who has secreted this esoteric knowledge? How do I not know that there's not higher level dimensional beings that are controlling them or operating the whole thing? How do I know that? But I do know one thing. I am soul. Okay? I can stand in my sovereignty and state my sovereignty in any dimension, any time. And I've said it many times. I could be standing in front of a 22-foot reptilian and he's about to bite my head off. And I can look him right in the eye and say, I am soul. Now you can bite my head off and kill this physical body, but you're not going to kill me. You're not going to take my power. It's not going to happen. And this is what's happening. It's God, goddesses, however you want to put it, source realizing in the middle of the video game that, hey, I am actually the one who's doing all this. So when I hear the same things over and over, it's not that I don't respect them or find them credible, but the things that I find most intriguing and exciting and inspiring and motivating and courageous on the show are the human hybrid souls that come on and say, I've never been on the screen before. I've been working with the mother, with the Magdalene ley lines, and I'm not going to mention names, but as an example, I've been working for 18 years, moving around Europe, settled in Israel, working the Magdalene Rose grid lines, quietly with a small group of people, led by Spirit, turned my whole back on my whole family 20 years ago, and I'm serving Spirit. And I've never come out until I came out on your show. And then they tell their experience. Or the lady I talked about with the dragons. Are people that come on and say, I was abducted at 18 years old. My whole entire block in my neighborhood. A UFO landed, took us all on board. They put me on a ship. I was on with a guy. I was on a gurney, and the ET that was driving it. We merged souls. I mean, these stories, these people, these souls are what it's all about. And what I see, instead of it being one thing like the event's going to happen or we're doing an ascension and this is how it works and all that stuff, the thing that I find most fascinating is the common thread of truth. When someone, doesn't even matter what they're talking about, they can be talking about anything, but the truth speaks in a way that none of us miss. And even if you deny it, your soul sees it. And that to me is the power of Soul Speaks 5D and Soulogy. It's not a social circle. We have friends in Soulogy, Morgan and I, and there's a lot of people that have friended each other in Soulogy, thousands of people. You know, it's an energy. It's an energy, and it's just another name for what we all share. And at the end of the day, you know, I can talk to Jesus, and you can talk to the Andromedans, and someone else can talk to the Arcturians, and this one can talk to Kuan Yin, and have all these dimensional experience. And oh my God, look what happened to me. Get over the fucking wow, every one of us. Get over the fucking wow, and realize we have one thing in common. We've all been human hybrid souls in at least one incarnation. We're all here at the same time. Something incredibly powerful is happening, and we're the ones here doing it. You can't make this shift up, you know? You can't make it up.
I love that. I love.
And look, you're only going to, and look, I'll say this last thing. You're only going to be Bryan one time, and I'm only going to be Todd one time. So when these, nothing against anybody, but it's just the way I talk, these Far Eastern philosophies of everything's already happened, the universe has experienced itself through us. Well, yeah, the universe has experienced everything up to right now. Okay? Now that moment's passed, so it's experienced that. We came into this thing with all universal knowledge within us. Was our DNA tampered with? Do we have this many strands and this and that? Who gives a shit? Okay? Whatever's happened, this is the unveiling. This is the apocalypse. This is the ascension, the awakening, whatever you want to call it. Apocalypse means unveiling. So we have all of that information. And what? It just sits there and flat lines like, you know, EKG when somebody dies and the heartbeat just like that? Or does it expand? This universe is about expansion. So we're taking our universal knowledge that we all have, Akashic, whatever you want to call it, combine that with our experience. Even if you just take this life, combine that with our experience, and that's a recipe for exponential growth, wisdom, courage, love. I believe we're the new good book. I believe we've been given all the templates that universally were ever created. Mother Earth is a special place. It has seeds from all of the multiverses. Okay? And I believe we've been given these templates. Some of us specialize in this, some of us specialize in that. And we're here to create new templates. It's like a remix. It's like a remix. You like music?
I love
it's music. It's like a remix. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I love the old blues. I hear a guy, he takes an old Muddy Waters song and he puts electronic in it. That's it. That's it right there. It's like taking the Magdalene message or the Kuan Yin message or the Buddha message or the Jesus message and remix it.
And making it our own.
Give us some fresh beats. Yeah. Let's give us some fresh beats, baby. You know?
Yeah.
You're not saying anything different. You're not saying anything different. What you're doing is you're saying, I got this particular message from this particular prophet or prophetess or whatever the case is, and I'm going to expand it. I'm going to expand on it by my experience.
And put me in that.
By my experience. Yeah. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? This is how I got in the door. You know, Jesus appeared to me in the trees 8 years ago and said, hey, get ready. Your life's going to change tomorrow. That was just my higher self talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the information. And then you go along your life, you clear shadows and you learn things and you expand and you go from there. I mean, this is what we're doing. You cannot underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it. Especially your own.
Well, that's all you got?
That's all you got.
Yeah.
That's right. I wrote a Soul Speak. I do music videos. I haven't done any in a long time, but
yeah, I know you're
75
doing music
of them,
as well.
and I wrote. But I wrote one, and it says all you need, and the chorus is. What is the chorus? All I need is all I got. I'm soul. All I need is all I got. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. We don't. Show me an offspring in the universe that's different than its parents. There's not one. Made in the image is made in the image. So we are that. And you can't say I am that, but I'm not that over there. We are all of it, every bit of it. And that's what we're here to do. I think when we're done with all this, we are actually going to be like a universal healer. They will be able to go to any part of the universe or multiverse because we've got the universal seeds and we've done the work and be able to heal.
When you say when we're done with all of this, I'm curious around the choice of verbiage. Done with, what are you suggesting by, is it, what destination is that?
Whatever we choose, I guess, I mean, eternal is eternal.
Right.
It's that paradox because on one hand, on one hand you would, like John Lennon said, when you die, you just get out of one car and go into another.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, all we got is this. All I got is this right now. That's it. That's all I got. And it's becoming better and better and better every day for not just me, but I think for many, many people. Many, many people are prospering and expanding, especially now with shows like this and more people talking about the things that we're talking about, because a lot of people have been talking about this stuff for a long time, a lot longer than me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And they were deemed crazy.
No.
But crazy ain't crazy anymore.
There's definitely
it's not crazy anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely become a lot more widespread. No. I think the thing I love about you most, Todd, is how you empower the individual and the human. It's really, really great to see after all that you've been exposed to and the conversations that you've had. It still comes back to, what do we have right here in front of us? What could we know right here in front of us? And the only thing we can know is this right here. And for it to come back around to just that, it's, I think, a super important thing, because we can't get lost up in all that stuff. How does that serve us if we're not grounding that into our own experience and using it to just create what it is that we feel called to create a more fulfilling, prosperous experience for our collective. So I do love that. It seems the core of your message. And you have a lot of, like, in hearing you speak, there's a lot of little things that I wish I had time to pick out there and just explore your mind a little bit deeper around, because there's a lot there that I haven't dug too deep into, and I'm sure there's a lot that you have to share about it. So I know you do have to take off here soon, but I would love for you to come back on and catch on fire like you did today again.
Well, yeah, I'm totally up for that.
See,
totally
and I got to point it out, you have your show and you're pumping out all these episodes that you are, and you still have time to join me for an episode on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be honored to come back on your show. I'd be honored for you to have you on our show, but I'd love to sit on this side of the screen, with more frequency. And I've been on a few shows, I mean, for the last 3-4 years, but I'd love to be on your show. I think I watched your videos, not too many, but I saw enough to pick up on the energy. I saw some of your posts. I thought, that's a ballsy dude, man. I'm digging it, and I liked it. I thought it was great stuff, and I'd be glad to help you and collaborate with you, So I'm all for it. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll with it. So you want to do another show? You just let me know.
I'm glad to hear it. And we got 40 guests in the house that just paid witness to that. So we're going to hold you to it. We're going to have you back on. Again, I know you got to hop off. Well, maybe if we can squeeze a couple
I
in.
still got. I still. Yeah. I still got. They just told me they're going to be 5 minutes late.
Okay, so tell you what.
So
We have quite a bit of comments that were getting fired off during the stream. I don't think we'll be able to get to all of them, but you know what? Tell you what, if those of you that were bringing to us your light, and I think I saw a few questions in there as well. I will be opening up here for any Q&A for Todd. So if anybody has any questions, please do fire them off now. We'll take any of those. But I have a couple. If we don't get any from the audience here,
go ahead.
Soul speaks. I know you kind of touched on it. Give me a definition for that word right there. Soul speaks.
Well, so I started out in Houston. I went homeless for a couple of years by my own choice.
And I woke up. Sorry to cut you off there, but you have a really interesting story that I know we didn't really get too into. We kind of took off in a different direction. I was kind of anticipating going back to some of your past stuff, but we'll make that a note for next time.
We could,
I don't think.
Yeah, we'll do that next time.
Okay, continue.
So because I want to get the most out of it. You know what I mean? We got to get the most out of this collaboration.
Cool.
But but that's a good question. I dig the question. So what would happen is I would walk all the time. I probably averaged, at least I'd say 3 to 7 miles a day, and that might even be an understatement. So I walked all the time, and I was in a constant communion. And I was removing shadow. I was doing what I needed to do for myself. But I was told, start Soulogy. Well, what am I going to do with it? And start writing. So that was the first soul speak. It would just be this, I'm a conduit. We're all conduits. So I would just write down some poetry or some prose or some commentary. So then it went on. I came off the streets after a couple of years. I started putting them to images and making my own graphics, and then like putting the words in the graphics, memes or whatever you call them. And then it went another level. And I heard open SoulogyOneStudios. I'm like, what's SoulogyOneStudios? They're like, go downstairs, make a studio. I'm like, all right. So, hang on. Let me just tell her. Yeah, I actually got a little more time now.
Tell you what, you know what? I'm actually seeing that my my battery's coming to an end here, and I don't want this to get cut off. And I don't know if the replay won't get posted if it shuts off there.
No, it'll get put. How much time? How much do you got left?
10%. So I think we're running pretty tight.
You're okay.
Okay.
We'll go about 2-3 minutes. Well, what'll happen is if you get down to about 7 or 6, it'll pop off. If it's anyway, let me just tell you what Soul Speaks is.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So then I wrote a lot of stuff, like 300 pieces probably, and I went downstairs and I found some instrumentals. First one was a neoclassical. The next one was a South Side of Houston hip hop beat, and I just kept going with it. And I started speaking the words to the music, first take, just turn it on and go, and then make a video with it. And so that was Soul Speaks. Well, the first Soul Speaks was
I saw the second video. You just reposted it, right?
Yeah. Yes. That was the second video. Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
After that, I started going on spirit walks. What I call spirit walks, and I would actually talk to the phone or the audience as I was talking to myself, as I was talking to you.
Right.
So that was that. And then of course Morgan came up with, let's call the show Soul Speaks 5D. Soul Speaks to me is just is when we're a conduit, when we're aligned. And I'm not saying I'm always aligned. It's when you just put your best effort out there. When you say, okay, I'm going to connect, boom, and you do it.
And the highs
Soul
come
Speak
through.
is it's just you. It's like a combination of the raw human with as much alignment as they can get with their divinity.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would put it.
I love that.
And yeah, we had our first event here in Kauai last Saturday, 3 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
at the Spiritual Center. And toward the end of it, I said, "Does anybody want to get up here and speak?" So I spoke, and I said, "This is how I got to the island. This is what happened. This is how we got initiated. This is, thank you to these people and thank you to those people." And then somebody else got up and just spoke from the heart. That's soul speaks, speaking from the heart. That's soul speaks. Because when you speak from the heart, you're not going to bash anybody. You're not going to talk shit about anybody. You're not going to judge anybody. You're just going to speak from the heart. You might say, "Oh my God, I feel like I want to speak bad about this person," or I want to, but you're going to just say how you feel. And that's really what this is about to me too, is we're moving out of the blah, blah, blab, and I'm a talker. And we're moving into feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We're intuitive, energetic, you know, uh, sensitive by those higher senses that are really a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
This is who we are.
I think
But anyway, I don't want you to blow
yeah,
up on
I
me.
don't want it to end off like that either.
Yeah.
I want to give you
So you let me know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Todd,
You let me know, and I'll be glad. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you to get you back on, because I say it again, I know you have a lot more to share and to soul speak. Um, I want to thank you. I'm so grateful for having you on the show here. I'm grateful for you taking the time to do this with us, but not just that, but all that you do through Soulogy, through Soul Speaks, 5D. You're, again, perfect example of someone that is committed to service towards our collective, and I think you're a credible role model. So thank you again for all that you do.
I thank you too. You just hit me up when you're ready.
100%.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Take
Ascenders,
care.
I'm going to hop off quickly here before my battery dies and the replay doesn't go up. Much love to you all. Thank you. We had a popping house today. It was pretty on fire here today with Todd and with the comments going. I think we had about 50 people in here. Okay, I gotta go. Love you all. Until next time. Keep ascending.